We'll be moving into chunk 4 of the Declaration of Natural Rights. So here we have 4 and 5. Let's focus on 4. Then whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. So, first step, as usual, use our vocabulary resources to read and substitute. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. It is the right of the people to change or get rid of it. Okay, that's very helpful. Now I'm going to use some prior knowledge. I see the word destructive, and I know that comes from the word destroy, so I noted some synonyms that try to describe destructive, so I can use them um, if the opportunity comes up. Now we have a pronoun, these ends. So we need to figure out what these ends are. And you guessed it, we're going to look at the previous chunk like we usually do. That's our common strategy we use when we're trying to figure out what a pronoun represents. So what are these ends referring to? Deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, so it might be referring to this detail here. It's not really clear. And I think I'm going to want to read more because I studied chunk 2 and chunk 3 together. And when I did that, I realized that they were very connected. Okay, so there's no period that divides them. And so their ideas run across each other. So let's go ahead and take a look at all the previous chunks, since just looking at chunk 3 didn't help me. So before I make a judgment, I want to review in my mind what are the ideas I learned about in chunk 1, 2, and 3. So in 1, we learned that people have rights that cannot be taken away. Those rights are given to them by their creator. In chunk 2, we learned that government's job is to protect our rights. And in chunk 3, we learned that people give government its power. So government gets its power from the people. So all of these ideas I've just taken away earlier this week from this series. Now I can give this a read and try and make a connection from there, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, so it's not just referring to these ends, is not just chunk 3, but the previous ideas. So all 3 of them, okay, all 3 of those ideas are these ends. So I'm just going to take a small note to capture that pronoun. These ends is the key ideas presented before this phrase. And I'm going to substitute it in the paraphrase, that whenever any form of government becomes disastrous of these ends, it is the right of the people to change or get rid of it. Okay? So I need to keep these ideas in mind when I move into author's meaning. So combining that content plus this paraphrase, my first interpretation is, if government destroys, wrecks, or does not follow those key ideas, the people can change or get rid of their government. Okay? And processing further, what does that mean to get rid of a government? What does it mean to violate those ideas? It's essentially an abuse of power. So if government abuses its power, the people should change the government. If government abuses its power, the people are entitled to change the government. So you can see that the expert readers made some leaps here because I'm applying these ideas to real life and government, right? So you gotta make some leaps to create that meaning. So pause here to make sure you have the notes you need. And then make sure you have the strategies we used in this video.